Hi, Kathy Odell back again at the Crystal Wand for Shop Talk. And today, Lisa's going to talk to us about animal communications. Lisa is an animal communicator. You help, find lost pets and help breed pets if they're sick, like what's going on with an animal communications. Let's call it that and start there. All right. So you were telling me earlier that you got into this because you could do it as a child, but then you shut down like you did with your mediumship, and then you came back to it as an adult.
Yes.
How did you start back, or when did you start back, or what caused you to get back into it?
It started, I think, when I bought my first horse. I started working at the barn, working with the horses, taking lessons, and all of a sudden I just started feeling a little more open, started listening more. I was hearing what the horses were, when they were having problems. I was hearing things, and
How do you hear things? I don't understand.
it's just a knowing. It's not their voice coming in, it's just a knowing. I do a lot with touch, so when I touch them, I can feel if something's not right, if something's a little off, if
Like you're
something
in a
hurts.
telepathic communication.
Yes. Yeah,
Like the
it
Vulcan
just-
mind
Yeah.
now. You know you were
I know,
experiencing.
it just comes through. It's very hard to explain. It just happens. It's just something that you know. It's like how you feel. If you cut yourself, you know it hurts. You just.
Well, how about the thing, okay, let's say with pets that have died. Do you do mediumship for pets that have died?
Yes, they come in if all the owner has to do is
I'm just thinking about my babies.
bring a photo of your pet with the eyes. I use the eyes. The eyes are the window to the soul, and I look and concentrate and connect, and they'll usually come in, and if the owner has questions, we can do questions. I can tell them what they're doing. They'll do, and I see them, not here, but in here I can see them, especially with cats. They'll weave in and out of the owner's legs, or whatever they've done at home or a dog maybe. I was doing a lecture at a psychic fair, and there was a white dog hopping up and down, and I said, "Who's got the white spits?" And there was a girl in front that I thought was gonna fall right over, and she said, "It's mine." And we did a little thing in the lecture, and they just come in. And
You
they're
have
just
to
here.
have you do one of mine. I should have on the camera with me. Okay, well then, it's like with the animals, I know you're into the horses especially. I know you like to do the Reiki on the horses. Okay, tell me about how you got into Reiki for animals.
I was at a sanctuary. We were taking a tour, and we were out in one of the pastures, and there was a horse that backed her butt up to the fence where I was, and the woman who was doing the tour said, "Be careful, you might get kicked," and she's not gonna kick me. And I reached out and I put my hand in the base of her tail, and when I close my eyes, I can see the chakra colors, and all I did was just put my hand there and close my eyes, and it balanced. She just balanced every color. We went through red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, right into the clear, and got her all balanced. And when she was done, she kind of turned around, snorted, nodded her head, kicked up her heels, and took off out in the pasture. It was my thanks she thanked me for balancing her, and I thanked her for giving me the option to help her out.
Oh, that's neat. I would just, because that's like when people have animals, I would think the most, well, I shouldn't even say what I think. What do you get mostly when people come to you for the animal communications? What are they generally asking of you?
It depends. Some of them want to know what happened, why they passed. One of the biggest things is if they, as a human being, we are very blessed to have the option to end suffering. However, there's always that second guess that, did I do the right thing? Should I have put them down? Were they ready? That question comes up quite frequently as to, did I do the right thing? I have not ever run into anybody that has not done the right thing to this point. Everyone has, the animal has said, thank you for usually it's the gift of no more suffering.
Well, I would think too, because there is life after life, and if the animals are suffering, I know it's hard though, because I know
It
with my
is.
one main cat, I just held on way too long before I finally acquiesced, because I just wanted her to die at home, and it was like, 2 or 3 weeks of waiting for her to die was
Right.
killing me,
And she's
and
suffering.
it was suffering. She couldn't get up, and it was so sad, and I finally took her in, and
That's one of the
but you always feel
biggest
guilty.
problems.
But after that, then it was like when they told me something was,
Yes.
it's like, okay, let's do it now. I didn't wait. I wouldn't hesitate, because I was never putting myself or the animal through that again.
Right.
But then you always wonder, are you pushing it? Am I just a cat killer? I mean, what is
Well,
this, Lord?
we as humans fight with the whole thing. We're blessed to be able to end their suffering. Yet we are also, then when we end their suffering, then we start our suffering through grievement process. And it's very hard. It's very hard.
Oh, God, yeah.
Because you second guess yourself all the time. And when you have the option to end a life, and that's not normal for us. That's not something that we are all about life, and we don't want to end a life. And the biggest problem is animals don't last as long as we do. You
Yeah.
have to figure on an average for an animal, for a pet, it's 10 to 15 years
Yeah.
maximum. Horses can go into their 30s or 40s, and that's not the norm. I mean, there's a lot of them,
No, yeah,
once they hit 20, they're starting to get old and they're considered senior, but it's very hard to do. It's a hard decision.
When people come to you with pets, let's say they got a dog that won't stop barking, or they got a cat that won't stop peeing all over the house. These are common problems, I would think. Can you help them understand why the animal's doing that, or can you communicate to the animal, please don't do that anymore?
A lot of times it's finding out what the problem is. I'm actually working with a cat right now who does not like talking. It's hard because it's also one of the things where it's their decision whether they're gonna communicate with me or not. It's not me just walking up and saying, okay, what are we gonna do? What's the problem? How is this gonna work? It's them deciding whether they want to let me know. A while ago, there was a woman who called me, and she was having problems with her horse, and he was off the track thoroughbred, OTTB, and I connected with him, and all he kept saying was he doesn't want to lose his job, he doesn't want to lose his home. All night long, I'd wake up in the middle of the night and I would try to connect with him, and he wasn't giving me anything. He just refused. Finally, about 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, he gave in, or would tell me, and what he showed me, it's almost like I see a movie in my mind, and he was out with his herd, and he slipped on ice and pulled a muscle up in his shoulder. And that was giving him, he was fine when he was out in the pasture or in the arena with his buddies, he was fine, but when she brought the saddle out to tack him up, he would stiffen up and it would hurt, and then he would act up. So what I do, I am not a veterinarian. I told her what I saw, what he showed me. She called the massage therapist, the veterinarian, and the acupuncturist, and put him on a 3-month stall rest, limited exercise. And about 4 months afterwards, she sent me a picture and called me and said he's back under saddle again, and they were extremely happy because they had no idea what happened. They didn't realize he slipped on the ice. And there was no injury. She couldn't see any injury. There was no reason why this horse was doing this, and
It was a
just-
soft tissue. Without an MRI, you're not
Right.
gonna see.
Right, exactly, and to do horses, it's kind of
Yeah,
expensive.
yeah,
You either
so
have to
you
haul them
just-
somewhere, or somebody comes in with mobile units, and it can get very expensive. So it was just nice to see that, because he was so worried about losing his job.
Oh,
And
good Lord.
they do think of that.
Losing his job, running
Yes,
around the
right.
track.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. And then with people with lost pets, I heard you've helped people
Yes,
find
yeah,
them.
there's been a few. Yeah, there's one here in Gettysburg when I first moved here. a girl had contacted me, and we found him. It's, sometimes it's hard because I'm unfamiliar with the area, so all I can do is, they'll show me a picture of their, kind of where they are. So all I can do is explain to the person is that they're showing me this and this and this. And one of the kickers was, he's scared to death of the owls. And as soon as I said that, and she said, he hears owls, and I said, I can't tell what they are. It sounded like they were great horned owls. And she said, I know where he is. And she called me back about half an hour later, and she found him. Which was, and it was a specific, there was a row of pines in her backyard, and she had two great horned up there. They have nests. And that was the one thing, because he wasn't really giving me a lot of options, but he was scared to death at night with the owls. And he was hiding underneath, and she found him.
Oh, that's.
So it was, yeah, it's.
But I'm sure they're not all success
No,
stories. Sometimes
there's a dog in Maryland that we have not been able to find. For whatever reason, he'll show me pictures, and they can't find him. It's been a year. He ran away last summer, July 4th fireworks. And we haven't been able to find him yet.
I imagine it's hard to locate anyway. If you're looking through the animal's eyes, you're
It
seeing
is.
everything at a certain level.
Mhm.
You're not seeing street signs and
Right. It's, and all I can do is just tell them what the animal's showing me, and it might not be real time. It might be what he saw the day before. It might be, and I don't know whether they're traveling or whether they're stationary. I never. All I can do is rely on what they're giving me.
and
And
hope
if
that
they're
the
not-
people recognize something.
Yeah, I think of the people who've called me, I think we found 4 or 5, and there's still 2 that I have not been able to, which is disappointing. I mean, it's not, I just feel that every animal should be reunited with their owner.
Well, it's like when my sister showed you her cat, okay? Now, it ran away a year ago, and my sister's been just crazed ever since, and I can't even go into everything she's been through trying to find this cat. I mean, the neighborhood for miles around has had posters at every single street sign and everything else. But psychic that she had contacted before you a couple months ago had told her what she saw. And then Piggy Ann wanted verification, because it's like, well, you know, it's like Piggy Ann, I'm sure it's probably, we were all trying to talk her down. This was going on too long. So you came to us and was like, well, to test her to see if she's any good before we wanted her working here. It's like, okay, we'll let you do this reading and see what you get. And she came up with exactly the same thing the other lady had told her. You saw, it's like you're seeing the cat, she's sitting on the chair, but you saw that it was an older lady, very old lady, on a walker or with a cane, because you could see the woman out of the dot, and that the cat was very content and felt happy there. And you explained how the cat just ran and ran and ran. I forget what all you were telling her, but it ran because it was freaked, and it just, by the time it stopped, it's like, uh-oh, where am I now? And
Yeah.
because in that area of town, there is a neighborhood very nearby that I assume the cat had gone into, where all the feral cats and all the crazy cats are loose, because half the neighbors there feed the cats. I mean, it's like cat heaven there. Everybody's, well, not everybody, there's 2 or 3 of them. There was one lady who has passed, but the other neighbors have taken over for her. And she always had a posse, 6, 8, 10, 12 cats coming to her door for food all the time. And I just assumed Matilda had gone off with those cats. But instead, she was in the opposite direction. She's out in one of those farmer countryside areas. But at least she's tended to.
And she's happy.
And she's happy. And you told her exactly what that other woman had told her 2 months before. And that other woman was from out of town. We didn't know her from me. So I'm thinking, that's validation for me. Anyhow, that's how we got her here. So she might be able to answer all your questions, and then there are sometimes she can't, but she gives it her best, and we believe she's
Absolutely.
honest and she's sincere.
Thank you.
And you do a lot with the animals besides
Yes.
just looking for them or trying to communicate with them. She also does, well, you do it mostly with horses, the animal Reiki.
Horses, I do, I make barn calls, I go right hands-on with horses. I do distance. A friend of mine called me one time and she said, Ree's colicking. I said, send me a photo. So she sent me a photo and I pulled it up on the iPad and I had my hand on him and I did what I do. And she called me back a few minutes later and she said, he passed gas and he pooped. I said, okay, that's all we needed. Get him outside and let him go. And and it's not, it's not always, if it was impacted, a lot of times all I can do is ease their pain and suffering. But if it's something that can be pushed out, Reiki's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And I do a lot of, I do something called synergy, which is energy work with the horses as well. Sometimes that's more, I do the Reiki, but then the synergy comes in and helps with that as well. And that's almost like a more of a workout for them to get things balanced and back on track. But I do the horses hands-on. And then anyone coming into the shop, you don't have to bring your pet. It's not conducive for having them in here. Just bring a photo. You can either bring a paper photo, you can bring it on your phone, and we can do it.
Yeah,
Right
so
from
do the
that.
pet readings here, and you also have your own website, don't you?
Right now just email. I
Oh,
do
email.
have a Facebook page. Whispering Hands Animal Communication is with Facebook, and
Whispering
there's-
Hands Animal Communication, in case you.
and-
Well, I just like to
Too
say
fast.
it.
and I do all readings can be done through email too as well.
Okie dokie. Well, I guess that's it with our talk with Lisa today on animal communications, what it's all about, or at least a glimmer of something. So we'll try something else later, and we'll catch you on the next video.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank you.